Hello dear students. Today we will be studying the first chapter of your Flamingo, that is the last lesson, written by Alphonse Daudet. This particular chapter deals with the sense of patriotism, that is the love for your country, linguistic hegemony or chauvinism, that is extensive and excessive love for one's mother language. It also deals with the pain of people who are under foreign rule. The narrator also tells us about the importance of mother language. This particular story is set up during the Franco-Prussian War, which was held in the years 1870 and 71. France was defeated by Prussia, which was then led by Otto von Bismarck. The French districts of Alsace and Lorraine were occupied by Germany. A young student, Franz, is the narrator of our chapter. Let's talk about the story. The story begins with Franz, our narrator, who was late to school that day. That day, as usual, he was not willing to go to school for two major reasons. First, he was late for school, and so he was terrified that his teacher, Mr. Hamel, will scold him. And secondly, he was not prepared for his test, which was on participles. He was in great dread of scolding from his teacher. Amidst that, he was quite determined, and he continued his walk towards his school. On the way, he crossed the town hall. The town hall, which was then the major center for all kind of news which were related to war. He found that day there was a huge crowd in front of the bulletin board. He thought it must be some other bad news, and he ignored it and kept on moving. The blacksmith interrupted him and suggested him not to hurry, saying that he still has a lot of time. On reaching school, he notices that the school was comparatively quiet. There was no hustle and bustle of the students, no banging of benches, no banging of teacher's ruler, no noise at all. It was as silent as a Sunday. He also noticed various changes in the classroom. He noticed that the last benches of the classroom were occupied by the village elders, like the old Hauser, the mayor, etc. He also noticed changes in his French teacher, Mr. M. Hamel. He saw that Mr. M. Hamel was wearing his special attire: a beautiful green coat, a frilled shirt, a silk cap that he usually wore for the special days like inspection, etc. Mr. M. Hamel was comparatively very calm. He did not scold Franz for being late. Rather, he invited him to the class. Now let's talk about Mr. M. Hamel's last lesson, the lesson on which this chapter is based. Mr. Hamel started his lesson with the information to the class about the Berlin Order. According to the Berlin Order, the districts of Alsace and Lorraine were occupied by Germany, and so there would be no French taught or spoken in these districts. He also said that from the next day a new German teacher would be coming to teach them German. Mr. M. Hamel was very sad, but he talked about the beauty of French language. He said that French was the most scientific and beautiful language, and the people of France should not forget it. He also taught about the importance of mother language. He says that a mother language is the key to imprisonment. He states that if you are true to your mother language, you have key to imprisonment. He also requests the class to stay responsible and stern towards learning of their mother tongue. Listening this, Franz had mixed feelings. On one hand, he felt regret and remorse. Regret because he was not responsible for his French classes. He used to escape from them, he used to miss the classes, and he was not dedicated towards his mother language. Remorse because Mr. M. Hamel will now have to leave the school that he had nurtured for 40 years. On the other hand, he also felt angry. He felt angry on the linguistic chauvinism of the Germans. He thought, will these Germans teach pigeons to talk in German too? He could not understand how these German people are going to change the essence of French, the flora, the fauna, and the smell of France from these districts. Mr. M. Hamel also regrets for missing his classes. Being the sole teacher, he at times used to miss his classes for going to fishing, etc. He also feels pain to leave the school that he had nurtured for 40 years. Mr. M. Hamel wishes to teach all he knows. The last lesson was very important to him. He thought that he should convey each and everything that he knows about French as a language. Franz had sudden changes within himself. He suddenly started adoring Mr. M. Hamel. He thought Mr. M. Hamel to be a very great teacher. He started respecting his mother language. He wanted to learn whatever he could. He wanted to learn more of French and was sorry for not learning it before. He suddenly finds his lessons and French as a language to be easy to understand. Whatever sounded very difficult, very typical till yesterday appeared to be very easy today. Suddenly, the clock struck 12 at noon. Outside the window of the class, the victory band of Prussian army could easily be heard. This was the time when now Mr. M. Hamel will have to leave. Mr. M. Hamel could not speak. He was choked with tears. He could only write on the board, "Vive la France, long live France," and he dismissed his class. My dear students, let's talk about the two main characters of the story. The first main character is Franz, the narrator himself. Franz is shown as a usual disinterested student. He is a great observant. He observes every minute change, like gathering at the town hall, silence of the school, the classroom which was occupied by village elders, Mr. M. Hamel's special day attires, and also the calm attitude of Mr. M. Hamel. Franz is also shown as a great patriot. He loves his country. He feels gloomy about the Berlin Order. He also feels angry for the linguistic hegemony of Germany and the imposed language. He feels sudden love for his teacher. He is filled with remorse and regret for ignoring his mother language. The second main character of our chapter is Mr. M. Hamel, the French teacher. Mr. M. Hamel had spent 40 years teaching French. He loves his language. He is strict and disciplined, and that is the reason why Franz was afraid of going to school that day. He regrets for missing classes for his self-interest. That means he did not feel ashamed for his own faults. He considers French to be the most beautiful language, and he also speaks about the importance of mother tongue. He considers mother tongue as the key to imprisonment. He requests everybody to stick to their mother tongue if they want freedom. The phrases written on the board Vive la France clearly talks about his patriotism. My dear students, this particular chapter simply talks about the pain of all those people who have once been under a foreign rule, who were once forced to speak a foreign language. These two characters are very important. My dear students, kindly make a note of the entire chapter. Thank you.